Whis finally reveals in the new remake of Dragon Ball Super the origin of Super Saiyan 4 and why Goku couldn't use it at the beginning. And this brings up the following question. Is Goku, with Ultra Instinct, walking toward the definitive Super Saiyan 4? Man, this is insanely crazy. Get ready for this video. Run and subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and activate the notification bell. And then, when the sun rises over a grateful universe, I will finally rest. With this iconic phrase, we begin today's video, and the topic here is delicate. Our favorite angel Whis finally reveals the origin of Goku's Super Saiyan 4, shown in Dragon Ball Daima. With this new remake, Beerus awakens in search of the legendary warrior once again, but this time with a small yet huge difference. Yes, the big change, or one of them, will be Super Saiyan 4, and none other than Whis reveals its origin to Beerus. This shows that even though it is said the anime will be more faithful to the manga, they will bring Daima into Super, correcting this entire timeline. One of the biggest proofs of this, besides what was shown in the trailer during the event, is the fact that even the credits of the Moro saga highlighted Akira Toriyama, and we know that Toyotaro wrote this saga. However, they emphasized that his legacy, the eternal Akira Toriyama, is more alive than ever. Although this generated a lot of discussion, because, like it or not, Toyotaro has a lot of influence, since the baton was passed to him in a way. Anyway, since that's not the focus of the video, let's get to the main point. This makes a lot of sense within Dragon Ball's internal logic, and works especially well in a remake that wants to reorganize old concepts with a more cohesive canonical approach. If the new project really chooses to retell Dragon Ball Super with more narrative planning, Whis' revelation about the origin of Super Saiyan 4 could be one of the central keys to connect the past, instinct, and divinity in a single evolutionary line. Remembering that in the trailer itself there are many new things, it is not just a collage of old scenes. New scenes were added. In this scenario, Beerus would not wake up just because of a Super Saiyan god, but because he senses an echo of a much older power, something that does not fully belong to gods nor mortals. Whis could explain that long before the formalization of divine transformations, there existed a primordial Saiyan state, a raw power born from the perfect fusion between the animal instinct of the Ozaru and the refined combat consciousness of the warrior. It was not a transformation taught or granted by a ritual, but awakened through survival, pride, and extreme adaptation. This state was known in fragments in ancient eras, treated as a legend and later forgotten after the destruction of planet Vegeta and the domestication of Saiyan power into more civilized forms. This is where Yamoshi also comes in. In the Dragon Ball Super manga, his name does not appear in any panel, dialogue, or page. Toyotaro never writes Yamoshi in the published manga, so where does Yamoshi come from? The name Yamoshi was revealed by Akira Toriyama outside the manga, in official interviews and supplementary materials, when he explained the origin of Super Saiyan God. Toriyama stated that Yamoshi was a righteous-hearted Saiyan who rebelled against other evil Saiyans, died in battle, and whose spirit continued to wander, making the Super Saiyan God ritual possible centuries later. This information is canonical, but extra-textual. And now this could also be further developed. Whis, as an eternal observer, reveals that Super Saiyan 4 is not a regression, but a parallel evolutionary line, a natural response of a race created to fight in hostile environments. While Super Saiyan God and Ultra Instinct represent the Saiyan approaching the path of angels and gods, Super Saiyan 4 represents the peak of the mortal path, when the body fully embraces its heritage without depending on external divine ki. This is why Beerus would be interested, not because this power directly rivals the gods, but because it escapes the rules they themselves created. In the remake, this could be built gradually. Beerus would have ancient dreams, not of a golden-haired warrior or red aura, but a wild silhouette, glowing eyes, and a power that does not bow to divine order. Whis could then explain that this legendary warrior was not an individual title, but a state that very few Saiyans ever came close to reaching. Goku, having mastered Ultra Instinct without losing his essence, would be the first in ages to gather the conditions to awaken this power again, not through rage nor ritual, but through understanding. Understanding of his own body, his instinct, the heritage of the Ozaru, and the freedom to fight without restraints. This approach would also justify why Super Saiyan 4 did not appear earlier. Goku first needed to learn to empty his mind like the angels teach, so that the Saiyan instinct could flow without losing control.
In this context, the 4 would not be superior or inferior to Ultra Instinct, but complementary, a state where instinct doesn't come from outside, but from within, something even the angels can't replicate because they lack animal heritage and combat emotion. In Dragon Ball Daima, something very similar to this already exists even before any new transformation happens, and this is not a narrative coincidence. In Daima, what changes first in Goku is not his body, but his mental state. Unlike almost every previous phase in the franchise, he is not driven by anger, desperation, or extreme urgency. From the start of the journey, Goku is placed in a forced limitation, smaller physically, with less raw power available, which forces him to stop relying on transformations and to fight in a more intuitive, clean, and conscious way. This creates a state very close to what Whis always tried to teach, acting without overthinking, but also without losing control. There are several scenes in Daima where Goku shows unusual serenity even in battle. He observes more, reacts better, and makes fewer impulsive mistakes. It is not Ultra Instinct activated, but it is its psychological prerequisite. It's as if mind and body, for the first time since very early in his life, are walking together without conflict. Instinct doesn't try to dominate reason, and reason does not try to suppress instinct. They unite, including the fact that everyone attributes this to Neva, which in a certain way brought this calm to Goku, who accessed it there with his mind. And this right now in Dragon Ball Super, in the manga, is even closer. This dialogues perfectly with the idea of Super Saiyan 4 as a state that requires inner peace, not emotional explosion. The Ozaru has always been a symbol of loss of control. For a form derived from it to be usable consciously, the Saiyan must first accept this animal side without fear or repression. In Daima, Goku is not fighting to prove anything. He is not trying to reach a new level out of ego or immediate necessity. He is simply existing, reacting, flowing. This is fundamental. If we think in conceptual terms, Daima works almost like a detox of power. Goku goes through a kind of spiritual reset. He relearns how to fight with less, to trust more in his body, timing, and reading of the opponent. This is exactly the kind of state that would later allow the ancient Saiyan instinct, the one linked to the Ozaru, to emerge without losing control. Not as fury, but as presence. That is why your reading is correct when you say that he is at peace with his mind and united with it. In Daima, Goku no longer separates the rational self from the instinctive self. They begin to operate as one thing. And narratively, this is something that had never been done so clearly before in the franchise. Ultra Instinct taught Goku to silence his mind. Daima shows the next step, to inhabit that silence. Within a planned remake or continuity, this would perfectly justify the delay of Super Saiyan 4. Power was not missing before, inner maturity was. Goku first needed to learn not to fight against himself. Only after that could the ancient Saiyan instinct emerge, not as a curse, but as a complete, stable, and conscious form. That is why Daima, even without explicitly stating anything, works as a spiritual prologue to something much greater. And at the beginning, he might try again, but without Neva's help, maybe he can't anymore, and Ultra Instinct is bringing this to him. Narratively, this is gold. It allows the remake to honor GT without copying it, gives mythological depth to the Saiyans, elevates Beerus from a simple obstacle to a curious guardian of a power outside the divine hierarchy, and positions Whis as someone who always knew that Goku was not walking toward becoming a god, but toward becoming the most complete form of a mortal. Super Saiyan 4, revealed this way, stops being just a stylish transformation and becomes a philosophical concept within the Dragon Ball universe of franchise.
In a coherent, grounded way aligned with what already exists in the canon, it is possible to connect Ultra Instinct, the Galactic Patrol announcement, and the remake to the emergence of Super Saiyan 4 without appealing to anything absurd or contradictory. The key is to treat Super Saiyan 4 not as more power, but as absolute control of Saiyan heritage. In the context of the Galactic Patrol announcement and a remake, Ultra Instinct takes on a different role from the one it had in the Tournament of Power. It stops being an emergency state and becomes a tool of self-knowledge. Whis always made it clear that Ultra Instinct is not a Saiyan transformation, but an angelic technique based on emptying the mind so the body can react on its own. Over time, Goku learns to access it more stably, but this also reveals a limit. Ultra Instinct does not fully dialogue with Saiyan nature because the Saiyan fights with emotion, animal instinct, and survival impulse. This is exactly where the Galactic Patrol enters organically. More investigative missions involving ancient races, erased records, and forbidden zones of the universe give Goku and us access to information that was never relevant before, possibly even containing reports of primitive Saiyans, records of planets dominated by conscious Ozarus, and mentions of a power that fits neither the mortal nor divine axis, not as a current threat, but as a historical echo. Within official Dragon Ball canon, the Galactic Patrol is much older than the concept of Super Saiyan God cited in the anime and manga, and this is not interpretation, it is direct coherence with the material presented. The Galactic Patrol has existed for thousands of years, probably tens of thousands, operating since a time when the universe was still forming politically. In the Dragon Ball Super manga, especially in the Moro arc, it is clear that the Patrol was already facing cosmic threats on an absurd scale, long before Frieza, modern Saiyans, or even the organization of Imperial power in Universe 7. They were already dealing with primordial sorcerers, planet devourers, and interplanetary criminals when many races were still in early stages of development. Meanwhile, Super Saiyan God, according to the legends cited in the anime and manga, emerges relatively late in the cosmic timeline. The legend speaks of a period when Saiyans already existed as an organized race, had already conquered planets, and already had a defined warrior culture. This places the emergence of the Super Saiyan God myth a few thousand years ago, not at the beginning of the universe. In other words, chronologically, the order is clear. First come the gods, angels, and the cosmic system, then ancient civilizations and institutions like the Galactic Patrol. Much later, primitive Saiyans organize themselves, and only then appears the legend of the righteous Saiyan that gives rise to the Super Saiyan God myth. This is reinforced by the fact that the Galactic Patrol does not treat Super Saiyan God as something foundational, but as a rare curiosity linked to a specific race. For them, Saiyans are just one among many problematic species that emerged over time. The Patrol exists to maintain order before, during, and after the emergence of these races. Therefore, the Galactic Patrol is much older than the time of Super Saiyan gods cited in the anime and manga. It precedes the legend, precedes Saiyan culture as we know it, and operates on a much larger timescale. And this is exactly what makes the Galactic Patrol such a useful narrative element. It functions as a living archive of the universe, capable of contextualizing Saiyan legends without needing to inflate or contradict the power of the gods. Goku then realizes something fundamental. Ultra Instinct taught him to silence his mind, but did not teach him to embrace Saiyan instinct. Before, when the Ozaru emerged, it took control. Now, with a mind trained by Ultra Instinct, Goku can remain conscious even when accessing deeper layers of his own instinct. Ultra Instinct works as a mental stabilizer, not as the source of new power. Super Saiyan 4 thus emerges as a logical consequence. It is not a form beyond Ultra Instinct, nor a replacement. It is the result of Goku allowing animal instinct to flow freely, while the mind remains empty and serene. Without Ultra Instinct training, this would be impossible, because Ozaru was always synonymous with loss of control. With it, instinct stops being chaos and becomes body language. In this remake, Whis could explain directly that gods and angels will never walk this path because they do not possess animal heritage or conflicting emotions. Super Saiyan 4 is not a step toward divinity, but an affirmation of mortal condition. This is why Beerus is interested, not out of fear, but curiosity. It is a power that exists outside divine hierarchy, something the gods cannot teach or forbid. Thus, Ultra Instinct does not create Super Saiyan 4, it prepares Goku to endure it. It teaches silence, perception, and detachment. Super Saiyan 4 enters as the ancient voice of the Saiyan body, now finally heard without interference. The result is not a more out-of-control Goku, but a more whole Goku. This way, everything fits. The Galactic Patrol announcement expands the universe and brings historical context. The remake reorganizes old concepts without breaking canon. Ultra Instinct fulfills its evolutionary role, and Super Saiyan 4 stops being fan service from Dragon Ball Daima and becomes a logical, rare, and deeply Saiyan evolution within the universe of Dragon Ball Super.